Oh man, and I wrote Mayo Hosko. I'm so sorry, man. Okay, everyone, we're live now with Mayo Hosko. This is the reboot of the Oaktown Bricks podcast. I always get confused with my direction in Streamlabs. And this is the 5th episode, technically first episode on YouTube, but 5th episode in general. The first 4 were on Twitch, but we've moved to YouTube because the first 4 got deleted, unfortunately. Hello, Alvarg. How are you doing? YouTube stream is new. Yeah, it sure is. Have you seen Alvarg in your live streams, Mayo?
No.
Yeah, he pops up in mine often. What are you up to, Alvarg? Okay, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing well. How about you, Mayo? How are you doing?
I'm actually pretty tired.
Pretty tired?
Because because I'm on autumn break, I go to bed when my body tells me to.
Yeah. And what time is that usually?
Anytime it wants to. it could be midnight, or it could be it could be 12 a.m. or it could be 12 p.m.
Wow. That is insane.
When I have no reason to wake up in the morning, I'll do whatever my body tells me to.
So, when you say that you go to school, like, do you go to university?
Yes.
Oh, cool. What's your major?
I'm a geography major, and if anyone follows me on Twitter X, I have that in my bio.
What is it called? Geography?
Geography.
Oh, geography. Oh, that's right up my alley. So what do you do for geography major?
Well, my degree is applied geographical information systems, because since I was 5 years old, I've been obsessed with different types of maps, and so when they were pushing you to think about potential university degrees in 10th grade of high school, they gave us a big blue book of all the different degrees available at the local universities, and I looked at across the ones under the geography major, and that one spoke to me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I was exactly the same way. I have a bin full of maps, like a big box. Like something even bigger than this, like a bigger box than this of maps. Just filled with like maps of different places that I've been and all of that.
And I have files and files and files of different digital maps on my computers.
That's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's very cool. What made you love maps?
Well, I think it was because my family did a lot of travel when we used to own a caravan when I was young, and they had a street directory in the back of their car. Those are things that existed before Apple and Google Maps. And so I read over it once. I asked a bunch of questions because I thought, well, what are these things on this map? And then my parents explained, and then I eventually read it enough times to understand the gist of what was going on in my city, and then it kind of flowed on from there to the point where I could tell the geography of some countries where people in those countries probably wouldn't even know their own geography.
I was the exact same way. Like I memorized so I know all of my U.S. capitals and my Australian province capitals and my Canadian province capitals and my Mexican state capitals, for example. And I know most of the world capitals. Like, it's just something that I was very interested in always. So it's very interesting to hear someone else like that.
Yeah, it's nice to come across someone who has an interest in geography. Mm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's very cool. So, like, what do you do with a geography major? Like, what are your classes like? All of that type of stuff.
Well, I've already done most of my my major classes. So for the past 2 years, I've been doing electives, and that's actually been more so stuff outside of or out classes that aren't geography. So,
Hmm.
but when I was doing major classes that did have to do geography, I did a lot of programming with a software called ArcGIS Pro, and
Yeah, I've used
yeah,
ArcGIS for classes here. We
yeah,
had to use it for a mapping project in one of my classes.
yeah, and so because of that, know a lot. I know a thing or two about that software now.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. Me too. Yeah, no, this is very interesting. It's kind of shocking because I didn't know this side of you for like a long time.
Yeah, because it's something I don't project publicly all that often in my social media.
Yeah, yeah. Do you enjoy geography? Like in university?
Well, I enjoy it just as much as I enjoy environmental classes and innovation classes
Hmm. Yeah. Good point.
because one of my philosophies in life is work, fun is fun. You can't have the fun without work. And so it's all just a part of the universe's plan.
That makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I know people in the past who have fooled themselves into saying that they are excited for education when what they actually mean is they are excited to set themselves up for a good life. I cringe whenever people say, "Yes, I can't wait to go back to school." Like, no, that's not what you're excited for
Yeah. Yeah.
because anyone that knows anything about the education system knows in a lot of countries it's pretty subpar, but without it you're going to fail in life. And you don't hate the process, you hate the game. And so the way you deal with it is dependent on your attitude and your mindset, and that's why I am where I am as a geography major.
Hmm. Yeah, that is okay. Interesting philosophy. So, if you don't mind sharing, like, how old are you?
I am uh, I'm 22.
Got it. Okay, I'm 17. We'll be 18 by Brick World. Are you going to
Sometimes
Brick World?
yes, I am because I've already paid for my flights. I've already paid for my registration. I've already got a travel money for staff for spending on stuff when I get into continental USA, but I'm still trying to seek out anyone that has a spare hotel bed in their room, and if they want someone to split the bill with, I'm their guy.
Well, didn't I only saw about half of it on Replay Gang, but Hive's live stream Brick, which we'll get to that in a little bit. Weren't you going to be roommates with him?
Well, he made the offer because his his spouse was non-committal about also going, but now he's not going, so that rules that possibility out. But I'm going to wait to see if there's anyone else out there who to make their vacation cheaper if they want a roommate, and I'm their guy because I also want to not have to pay for a full hotel room.
Good point. Well, Mayo, I'm sorry to say this, but I can't do it. My dad is coming, so I can't do it.
Yeah, a lot of people are going with their family, with someone else from their family.
Yeah, yeah. hmm what Lego themes do you like to collect?
Okay, this is a tough one because it's tough to define collect. Is it something that you collect everything of? Is it something you collect a bunch of? Is it something you collect once off? Or was it something that you collect based upon whether you like it or not? So I always say that I collect every single Lego freight train that comes out. I collect every modular building from okay, so the trains right now are in the Lego City theme. I miss the days when trains were their own theme, and the modulars right now are in the Icons theme. I only collect the modulars that are straight buildings, and if they aren't primarily residential, because the Lego Bookshop modular was that primarily residential, much like the old modular pet shop that came out in 2011 that was mainly residential.
So you did
Uh,
not get those?
well, I only started collecting the modulars with the Parisian restaurant in 2014.
Got it. Got it.
And besides that, I there's no other themes that I collect, but my three favorite themes are probably trains, castle, and space.
Interesting. So I wanted to ask you something. How come you like Lego Space, but you don't like Star Wars and Star Trek and Back to the Future? You were telling me the other day.
Yes, I knew we were going to talk about this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've kind of been preparing my answer for that said hypothetical question almost all week long.
Got it.
So I really I've after watching so many different pieces of material from the sci-fi genre, and seeing the way people talk about the sci-fi genre on social media and the way people hype up new pieces of media under the sci-fi genre and comparing the execution to the hype, I've realized that it's just not my flavor. And so I've there is not a single piece of media under the sci-fi genre that I'm necessarily a fan of,
hmm
except if there's a piece of media from another genre of entertainment that has elements of sci-fi already incorporated in it. Because, for example, you could have a drama show or a comedy show, and once off episode, they go up in space. That's science fiction. Okay, moving on to the next episode afterwards. So I've, so I think, well, what Star Wars fans see, they compare themselves between the Lego space themes because there actually is no one space theme. There are multiple sub themes within Lego space,
Of
mainly
course.
separated by their factions. And I think when most Lego fans think of space, they think of the classic space theme. And when most people think about classic space, they think about the set from 1979, The Galaxy Explorer, which is
Hmm.
predominantly a grey triangle. And I
Hmm.
think Star Wars fans blurred the lines because the prototypical design of Star Wars spacecraft is the same grey triangle. And so I think the reason why space is different from Star Wars, even though Star Wars is itself in space, is because Star Wars is more than just space itself, because it's not just space battles, it's not
Yeah.
just politics in space, but
Yeah.
it also has a lot of dramatic elements that could be filmed on Earth.
Yes,
Doesn't
it
have
does.
to be doesn't have to be filmed in a galaxy's far, far away. Because for
Oh, and
example,
you don't like that.
yeah, yeah, because for example, the family dramas of how people say that the Skywalkers and the Jedi Council ruin everything and make it harder for the other life beings in the galaxies far, far away to prosper. The way that they talk about the lore of the characters is inherently different to the way that the minifigures in the lore of classic space operate, because everything that they do is intentionally, well, Lego intentionally wrote their lore, which really didn't have that much lore to begin with, because
Yeah.
unlike the Star Wars franchise, the designers of classic space sets left the goal of the play experience interacting the minifigures with the set was left
Uh-huh.
up to the imagination of of the children. While Star Wars, there's a straight storyline, and you're going to buy the Lego Star Wars
Hmm.
sets, and you're going to reenact the scenes from the movie. So the more you dive into the fundamental differences, whether they are easy to identify or
I
not,
get it. So,
the
like,
more
you
you
just
realize
prefer
the
unlicensed
separation.
stuff.
Yeah, and also I think another reason why I like space, but I don't like Star Wars, is that because there are restrictions within the universe that George Lucas established. What is it? It's the year 2024. So Star Wars came out uh 47 years
47
ago
years
now.
ago.
Yeah, 47 years ago now. The pre-established law that George Lucas established is very restricting given his own imagination. But the classic space sets can be anything they want because there's an endless amount of imagination beyond one person's mind who happens to be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest movie directors of all time.
Interesting. So, I have a question. Do you like licensed sets?
There are some licenses I do like depending on the property that they're from. So
Like,
for
which
so
ones do you
for
like?
yeah, so for example, um, the the I don't have an interest in the Prince of Persia movies, but
Mhm.
Lego Prince of Persia had some really good sets. I don't I don't have an interest in the Indiana Jones movies, but Lego Indiana Jones has some really cool sets, especially the ones that aren't based on a vehicle. I was really upset when they cancelled the new style Temple of Doom, and as soon as I could get a good deal, either a gift with purchase that I wanted or double VIP to get the Temple of the Golden Idol and the escape from the Lost Tomb, I jumped at the opportunity because Lego Indiana Jones has some fantastic play sets in it. I'm a
So
fan. I'm a
I
fan of. I'm a fan of Manchester United in the English Premier League. So
correct.
as soon as Lego announced their partnership with that association football club to produce a micro scale set based upon their stadium, I immediately bought that as soon as I could.
Hmm.
And there are some pretty common licenses out there that are easy to spot, but also some uncommons. But those are the three specific licenses that I can think about: Indiana Jones, Prince of Persia, and Manchester United.
Got it. Interesting. Huh. I mean, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, so the sets for me, I still don't have them. I'm definitely going to get them. But hello, PBJ. Welcome in. And I'm sorry, but I just want to answer one of Elvarg's comments. They said nothing much, really, just a bit sick right now. That sucks. And does the bin have extra Legos from sets? The map one does not. This other bin, it's just part, so probably from some sets. Well, again, hello PBJ. How are you doing? What was I talking about, Mayo?
Talk about well,
Oh yeah,
I was talking about some of the license sets.
yeah. And I was talking about Indiana Jones. So I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. So when they canceled the Temple of Doom, I was so upset.
I was upset too because I was on a stream with Altoy World and a brother from Another Brick and a couple other people. We were actually going on about the images for the upcoming Indiana Jones sets at the time, and we
Mhm.
all agreed that even though the cancelled Temple of Doom set was inferior to the original from the late 2000s, it was still a good enough set. And so I think I'm more upset that it was cancelled because I was on that stream with those people, because there's been plenty of cancelled Lego sets over the years, whether it's stuff like the Technic Osprey or the Dynamite Factory, which is some of the more recent examples. But there's been a history of cancelled sets. There was a Holiday Island set. I think that was supposed to be a tie-in to the Lego Island video game that was cancelled in 1996. There was the Seatron monorail, which was cancelled in 1991. There was a Western town set that was cancelled before we got the Wild West sets, because Lego was scared
Wow.
about how to properly integrate the rifle and revolver uh, the rifle and revolver pieces into their parts inventory, because at the time they had only dealt with the more with the antiquated firearms of the musket and the flintlock pistol from the Lego Pirates theme. So there's a whole history
Mhm.
of stuff of Lego sets that has been cancelled. But that Temple of
Which
Doom
one is the
was
musket and which
supposedly
one is the rifle?
if you go onto the if you go to Wikipedia, because there's a lot of people in the community who don't know how good of a resource Wikipedia is. If you go to Wikipedia, and then
Yeah.
in Wikipedia, if you search for pirates, and it comes up with the top result is Pirates the Theme, that lasted from
Got it.
89 that lasted from 89 to 97. Then you go
Got it.
to a pirate. Then you go to pirates in parentheses faction, and eventually it lists off some of the characters,
Mhm.
and and oh no, it doesn't show the accessories there. But if you scroll down to where it lists off some of the sets, you can pick apart from the sets where some of the minifigures have a gun in their hands, and
Uh
in
huh.
the and in the descriptions of some of them, I'm just trying to get them up right now. It it takes a while to load because the fandom website has a lot of ads in them. But eventually, if you find the right descriptions, you can see that the small gun that has the end of it that opens up like a flower, that has the rounded um the rounded handles, is the flintlock pistol, and the one that has an S curve in it is a musket, which were very differently shaped weapons from the Wild West sets that came out in 1996 and 1997.
Which one is this one?
That's the musket because it's got the S bend in it in the handle.
Which one is the S bend? This one?
So
No, this,
eh,
right?
yeah, so where you have the two 45-degree angles
Yes.
back to back, that makes up the S bend
Got it.
because it looks like an S that was pulled apart. Unless anyone out there is a train guy or a racing car guy, then it takes a while to learn what an S bend is.
Got it. I'm neither. Although I do collect some speed champions because I love myself some speed champions.
Yeah, I really like the Ferrari Speed Champions. I
Which one? This
really
one?
wish I really wish that the Ferrari F40 Competizione was just a regular Ferrari F40. That I think that's probably the Ferrari F8 Tributo.
Hmm.
Um, the regular Ferrari F40 was also made as a Creator Expert car in 2015. That's my favorite of the Creator Expert slash Icons cars, and
Wow.
coincidentally, that happens to be my favorite car of all time.
In real life and in Lego?
In real life, yes, but there are actually some of the model team sets from the 90s, stuff like the Baloo Fury and some of the tractor trailer trucks that I think are better car sets. Because it's very easy to lump the model team in with the Creator Expert and um and Icons cars, but there are enough fundamental differences where I like to separate them.
So I have a question for the model team that was built with system bricks, right?
Yes, that was built on system compared to the Technic cars available at the
Hmm.
time, which Technic back in the 90s is a lot different than what Technic is today, because
How?
Technic in the 90s was very much a hybrid between the Technic bricks and the Technic beams. In the
Hmm.
80s, in the 80s when they were making the transition from Lego, um from I forget if the precursor was Expert Builder or Universal Builder. I forget the two names. When they made the transition, they really focused on the Technic bricks, and then Lego introduced more different shaped beams in the 90s. So they were testing that out with their techniques, and then by the two thousands. They had enough Technic beams in their parts inventory that they almost completely omitted the Technic brick from their Technic sets.
Yeah, I mean, Technic bricks are really used only in system sets now.
Yes, because they've got enough Technic beams in their inventory that they can get away from the chunky feel and go towards more the smooth curvature on all of their different cars. Because compare stuff like the Lamborghini Sion, the orange Porsche, the Bugatti Chiron, and some of the other cars like the NASCAR Technic set. Compare that to the Technic vehicles they were making in the 90s. The ones from the 90s almost look like an entirely different theme because they're so goddamn boxy by comparison. Granted, cars in general in the 90s were much more boxier than what we have today.
Yeah. Like the ones in like Fast and Furious, right? Like the first one.
Yes, the cars because if you notice the other cars in the first Fast and Furious movie compared to the latest Fast and Furious movie, you see that given the time the Fast and Furious franchise came out, a lot of people were still driving those boxy cars that came out in the 90s, and a lot of car enthusiasts honestly regard the 90s as the worst era of cars ever.
Really?
Yeah, because of how uninspiring the designs of them were, because they were definitely made for low cost of production rather than street appeal or performance.
I'm gonna answer some questions from PBJ. So, I was thinking the podcast was on Twitch too. No, not anymore because they get deleted on Twitch. So I decided to just do it on YouTube. And he says, "I'm well, thanks." That's great to hear, PBJ. So I just want to. I think that I want to take a moment to, think about how unfortunate that it is that Brick Hive and Our Toy World will not be able to go to Brick World. My prayers are with them, especially with Our Toy World's father. I don't know. Did you hear about that, Mayo?
No, I haven't heard about that yet.
So Our Toy World's father is very sick. Like, he said that Brick World is during Father's Day, so he wanted to spend the last Father's Day with his father.
That's understandable, and I let him when he said that he can't come. I let him know that I was grateful to trade sig figs with him last year.
That's cool. I have not yet watched Brick Hive's video.
It's not a video. It's not a video. It's a 50-minute live stream with a title and thumbnail that looks like clickbait, but it's not clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, because when I saw that, I'm like, sad news. I'm like, it doesn't sound sad enough to the point where it's like someone died, but it's like, oh, and then when I clicked on it, it's like, oh, okay, I understand now. It was one of those interesting ones. Yeah. Well, hopefully Brick Hive gets better. Brick Hive, if for some reason you're lurking on the live stream, I just want you to know that in time your foot will get better. I just watched Ninjago season 18, if you will, and in that season, one of the characters breaks their foot, and they let that foot rest. They couldn't train and be a ninja for a while, even though as much as they wanted to. So, you can't go to Brick World, but they let that foot rest, and it got better, and then they were able to fight. So you'll be able to go to Brick Fair, Virginia, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm planning on going to Brick Fair, Virginia in 2026.
Really? Huh. You planned that ahead of time?
Yeah, I have to plan ahead of time because for each international vacation, I need well over 5,000 US dollars.
Well over $5,000?
Yeah, because
Wow.
with plane tickets and hotels and all the expenses while I'm in another country, it all adds up, and so I always have to exhaust my savings for these big vacations.
So Mayo, I was gonna uh, uh, just ask you. So, like, are there any franchises or movies that you're a fan of?
Um, there are a lot of sub franchise within overarching stories I like because Um, I will say that I do like what I'm not necessarily a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I do
Mhm.
like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I'm the same
There
way.
are,
Well,
yeah, there are. I'm not really interested in any particular movie franchise. There's a lot of TV franchises I'm interested in.
like which ones?
Um, mainly adult animations and
Okay.
some sitcoms. I and also, but probably the biggest is uh is very specific eras of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Huh. Huh. I definitely watched
Because,
some Thomas the Tank Engine when I was a little kid.
yeah, I only paid attention to the good stuff before American politics injected themselves into the corporate owners of that dying franchise. The franchise is a dying, and I've seen its slow death coming long before most people in that fandom.
I never knew that there was a hardcore fandom behind it.
Oh yeah, and they get into just as many arguments on Twitter X as we get into arguments about Lego on Instagram and YouTube.
What? What? I thought that Thomas the TV show, the only thing was just a narrator talking about trains.
Yes, then they changed their business model. Uh, they 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 upgraded from but as people like me would say, they downgraded from the model trains to CGI, which meant the characters could have their own individual voice actors. And now it's gotten to the point where there is no narrator. Thomas is the narrator, and they've gone from the model trains to 3D CGI to 2G, no, sorry, to 2D cartoon, and they completely scrapped the name Thomas and Friends and rebranded it as All Engines Go, and they can't even get renewal for season 4 of it because if anyone binge watches on Netflix, you know how uncommittal they are about the TV shows they have on there, and
Mhm.
and shows that have a dedicated fan base. They really get they really like to criticize size that streaming service because they pulled the rug out from under them just as the show's getting good. So I don't have much faith in a Netflix as a whole, which is why I've actually never watched anything on there. And when your TV series goes from a network television to that streaming service, it's almost normally a death sentence or an unexpected future.
Mm. So you don't like Netflix. You dislike Netflix.
Well, I like some shows that are on it, but
Like which ones?
I've just well, um well over the past this year, I've almost wanted to borrow someone else's account to watch the Santa Clarita Diet, just because I've watched some of the season trailers, and I know people that have been watching Stranger Things for years, and we got the Stranger Things upside down house set in Lego, which
Mhm.
actually had some pretty cool foliage in it. And I've seen people work in both the regular version and the haunted version, or the supernatural version, whatever the Things fans call it, into their cities, and it actually looks pretty cool. And I almost regret not buying the Stranger Things set. Um, but there's never been enough on the Netflix service for me to want to pay for it. I'm more of a sports guy, which is why I pay for sports streaming services to watch some of my sports
Mhm.
programs. But for entertainment options, I normally just leech off of other people's accounts, because one of my friends, he pays for Disney Plus, and hope it doesn't change because of the reports about the Walt Disney Company cracking down on password sharing that's been floating around in the media. He has
Yeah.
seven other people that use his account,
Oh,
including me. Which means if I ever wanted to go back and watch the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, not anymore.
that's unfortunate.
And my favorite movie of all time is Wally, and I really like a lot of the old Pixar films from before Pixar was bought out by Disney. So of course, the Toy
Well,
Story
Wally
franchise.
was when Wally came out, they had already bought them out.
Um, I need to go back and look at the specific timings, because you might be right about that. But
Because
I remember Wally was the second movie I ever saw in the theaters, and I was captivated by the animation in that movie.
which one was the first one?
I'd have to go back and look at the records, because Ratatouille came out in 2007. Wally came out in 2008. I
Disney bought Pixar in '06. It was 2006, the year that I was born.
Okay, so that was when Cars 1 came out in 2006.
What came out in 2006?
Cars 1
Yes,
came
I've
out,
never seen any of the Cars movies actually.
and it was Up that came out in 2009. That was the third or fourth movie I ever saw in the theaters. Actually, yeah, I
Yeah, no,
think it was
I'm
the
also a
fourth.
big.
Yeah, I think Up was the fourth movie I ever saw in theaters. Weirdly, the third movie I ever saw in movies was the Jack Black version of A Gulliver's Travels.
Hmm, hmm, interesting. And the first one was Ratatouille.
The first one was, and this is such a meme thing to say, but the B movie. And now I love going back onto YouTube and watching all of the every time they say B, insert X here. So like it could it like it could be every time they say B, it gets faster. Every time every time they say B, a certain sound effect plays. Every time they say B, the Seinfeld theme plays, etc. There's just so many memes attached to that movie. So I'm proud to be one of those guys that actually saw this meme worthy movie that every single person on the internet knows about, that I actually saw in theaters. It's kind
That's
of
cool.
it's kind of like how people would hold themselves in pride that one of the Shrek movies was the first that they ever saw in theaters. Because I know a lot of people of my generation, the first movie they ever saw was Shrek 2, and there's a lot of memes that came out of Shrek 2.
Yeah, I love Shrek. I love Shrek and Madagascar and Toy Story. Like I'm a big Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks guy, personally.
Yeah, but by far, Wally is my favorite movie of all time because you
Really?
you go back and watch a lot of the Pixar movies, not necessarily the Disney movies, because the Disney movies is more fairy tale based,
Mhm.
while the Pixar movies are more incorporating realistic morality with it under the guise of children's entertainment if you go back and look at it as an adult. Because when you go watch the movie Wall-E in the theaters back in 2008, you're like, they're on post-apocalyptic Earth, and then they travel through space, and then they get on this weird ship, and they do a bunch of crazy things on this ship, and then they come and then they fly home and end of story. But then you go back and watch it as a movie theater, and you're like, wow, what if Walmart, Amazon, Google, Apple, Saudi Aramco, Big Pharma, and all of these other companies ever formed to be a global mega power to overthrow the government? Wow, we should do something about this in terms of politics and livelihood and society concerns. So, and there's a lot of that stuff in the Pixar movies which I respect a lot.
Huh.
And also the way that they carried the Dinoco brand from Toy Story 1 into Cars 1. I got to tip my cap to Pixar on their part for the continuation of the lore. And actually, everyone knows B&L and all of the memes about B&L from Wally. But if you look closely, B&L appeared as a batteries in Toy Story and a sponsor of one of the racetracks in Cars.
It appeared as a commercial in Toy Story, right?
Yeah, because they were branded batteries that I think were used to put inside of Buzz Lightyear. Actually, no,
Are you a
sorry,
Toy Story
no,
fan?
sorry, no, sorry. It was used to put in the batteries of the walkie-talkie.
Which walkie-talkie?
It was the walkie-talkie that the army men wore when
Oh
they
yeah, of
when
course, the
they
play
when they
school
walked.
one, right?
Yeah, when they walked out of Andy's room to spy at the present opening at Andy's
Yeah, yeah, of
birthday.
course, of course. So, are you a big Toy Story fan?
Oh, I grew up with uh, the DVD, not the VHS of Toy Story 1. And then I think years later we bought the Toy Story 2 a DVD, and then I went to see Toy Story 3 in the theaters in
Me too.
2010.
Me too. I did the same thing. I like when I was a little kid. Toy Story 2 was my favorite movie. So I found out Toy Story 3 is getting made, and I'm like so happy.
Yeah. And
And
then
then
because
I saw it in the
and
movie
then
theater. It's like it's one of my fondest memories.
and also they made some Lego sets based upon Toy Story, which is another licensed Lego theme that I hold in high regard, and especially the Army Men on Patrol set. So many people that like to build a war zone or a battlefield use those Army Men from Toy Story because it's the closest Lego has ever come to a realistic Army Man in a
Yeah.
Lego set. And that's why the value of that has spiked out of control because of people who want to build build a World War One or a World War Two scene, you gotta have those army men,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also sets like uh sets like the the uh, the Great Western Train Chase. People really want that because of the minifigures in it. It was, I think, the Great Western Train Chase probably had the best combination of any of the Toy Story minifigures. I kind of regret not buying that now. And
Yeah.
I also yeah, and there were some other well, I over the years have slowly acquired some of the Toy Story characters, but not all of them. And so I regret not buying some of the sets that had some of my preferred characters from the movie. But because I enjoyed the the theater experience of Toy Story 3, I actually also watched Toy Story 4. And then I walked out of the theaters after watching Toy Story 4 and it was like, yes, that's a nice place to wrap up at that point a 18 or 19-year-old franchise.
Yeah.
And I really don't think there needs to be a Toy Story 5, but I heard someone floating out there in the media a couple years ago
I
that they're working
disagree, but yeah, no, Toy
on.
Story 5, they already confirmed it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Toy Story 5.
I'm all for it because I did not like how Toy Story 4 wrapped up. Because to me it's like, no, number one, I hated the whole Woody gets his pull string removed thing. Just personally, like that takes away from the character, and I get that it symbolizes him not being a toy anymore, but like still it's kind of weird. And and then he's like them parting ways. It just, I don't think that it was a great ending personally.
Yeah, because I can't remember it correctly, but wasn't it that Bo and Woody moved on from the rest of the toys?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah. I just think that they should have left it at Toy Story 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who argued when Toy Story 4 came out that Toy Story 3 was a good way to end the franchise. But after they came out with Toy Story 3, they had all of these 5-minute Pixar shorts where Bonnie was seen in possession of the toys. And so I was like, okay, that has sequel potential to what would it be like where the toys are Bonnie's, not Andy's. And I'm kind of disappointed that we never got figures of Al, Andy, and Bonnie in the Toy Story theme. Like it would have been super cool, and they'll probably never do it if we got a minifigure of all three of those in the same set, and then have Woody and Buzz be the nano figures. That would have been
That would be cool. That would be cool.
that would have been a cool gift with purchase back in the day, but they didn't do a lot of. I don't think we got mainstream gift with purchases until the early 2010s.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we really got gifts with purchases. Brickhive said it in his video the other day, until like 2009, really, at all. There was a Duplo one in the 80s, but that's about it.
Yeah, and even then, back in 2009, a lot of people didn't know about it because Lego was in their very early stage of marketing the gift with purchase as a tangible product.
Yeah, and now Lego fans go crazy over them.
And I go crazy over the vintage GWPs. So I'm really pumped up about that space monorail that's rumored to come out later this year.
There's a rumor about that?
Yeah, when I saw people talking about it in the news last month. I had to check it out for myself, and apparently there was a cosmic mock contest in a circle online somewhere that was run by the Lego Group, and there were two winners. One was a was a hover car that kind of looked like Luke's land speeder from Star Wars,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and another one was a scaled down version of the Futuron monorail that was built to run on the roller coaster track. And even though it is really scaled down, it actually still fits a minifigure, but the building itself for the monorail station is in a micro scale. So it's a weird crossover of scales, but considering I I, I also um I also went gun ho on getting Lego for the micro scale classic space set that has what everyone calls the space babies. If I like that, then I'm going to like the space monorail GWP,
Yeah.
because it's just a nice wink to the monorail. Lego's never going to bring back the monorail because
Oh.
other companies were put in charge of manufacturing the monorail track, and they also outsourced the production of the electronics in that set. So we're never going to get monorail back in its purest form. But recently, with the advent of social media and Lego paying more attention to social media within their marketing department, we've got uh, small amounts of them teasing us with the monorail and introducing the roller coaster track with the Creator Expert roller coaster in 2018 allows them to give more of those types of sets without it being the product that we actually want.
The actual monorail that we want.
Yeah, because like the monorail in a set I really like, the Monkey Kid City of Lanterns, which Monkey Kid is based upon the Chinese story Journey to the West.
Correct.
I actually like Monkey Kid better than Ninjago.
Why?
I'm just gonna throw it out there. They put the monorail in the City of Lanterns, and it was okay, but nothing can compare to the monorails from 87 to 94. And I can list off those dates without even having to think about it, because a lot of people in the community know that I'm knowledgeable about vintage Lego, and they tell me how smart I am. And I always say to them, I don't say yes, I am smart. I say I'm brilliant, because I know I'm not. I just pay attention to those who are, and eventually you read enough stuff online with the history of the Lego Group and the history
Yeah.
of the different Lego themes, that you can answer someone's question about any select era of Lego with any select niche subject without even having to think about it, because you've read it over and over again. And I grew up when
I'm kind of like that.
as a I think as a Christmas present in 2009, I got the Lego history book, and that had a treasure trove of information. And then as I began to use the internet more and more, um, when I got my iPod Touch for my 10th birthday in 2011, I saw, this section of the internet has the same information from this book. I wonder if this information is available elsewhere online. And then you go down the rabbit hole reading all of the different pieces of information about various things about Lego, and you grow your knowledge of Lego to the point where you're not smart. You just have the muscle memory to recite stuff.
Yeah, I'm exactly like that. Like I memorize things. Like I know that the airport shuttle set is from 1990, and I don't have to look it up.
Yeah, because like I'm not necessarily I'm not the type of person who can give the exact set number, but I can give the set name and the set year and how many figs it came with and for how long it was available for. Because if you go back and look in some of the vintage catalogs, take the year 1992, which is when the Lego Oaktown sets came out for the town theme. There were still sets like the airport shuttle, which was released in 1990, still available in 1992. And that's one of my big complaints about modern Lego sets is Lego is so quick to want to turn over out with the old, in with the new for the new generation of kids when it would actually be beneficial to cut costs of constantly designing sets over and over and over again if they just kept some of their existing sets on shelves for 1 year more. The average lifespan of a set these days is about 2 years. It used to be 3 years, and
I
that's
think
because
that 3 years is much better.
yeah, 3 years is much better because when you look at the way that the world evolves over time, there's normally a significant thing that happens in the world, no matter which aspects of life you want to look at, every 3 years. Like I think that's the same phenomenon of
Something
what's
big happens every
of
three
what
years.
of like what's most likely to be the best season of any TV series. It's probably going to be season 3.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who have watched enough entertainment and media in their lifetime to say, yes, season 3 of X TV show is the best. I think it's because it takes the human mind 3 years to understand the true aspects of their design or the true writing of their craft to get into a groove and ride off into the sunset with their own innovation and creation.
I agree. I kind of feel the same way.
We've gone for an hour now. How long do you normally do these things?
2 hours.
Oh,
Two
okay,
to
cool.
2 hours to 2.5 hours usually.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to ask me?
I'm trying to think. Just what else do you know about vintage Lego? Like, so I have a question. Do you like vintage Lego more or new Lego more?
I probably like vintage Lego more because, as I've said on various videos on the Mayo Hosko YouTube channel, I was born in 2001, so I'm that weird type of person who before elementary school grew up with analog technology, and then when they got to elementary school had the digital technology. So as a baby, I watched VHS tapes. As a student, I watched DVDs. And if anyone knows anything about Lego from the year 2001 to 2005, they were on the verge of of
Extinction.
well, yes, exactly. They were on the verge of bankruptcy.
Hmm.
They had just invested in the Bionicle theme, and they were hoping that the Star Wars theme would eventually pay their dividends. But and so they were trotting along to the verge of bankruptcy before they finally decided that they needed to change their executive branch. So they got a new CEO in
Who worked
2000.
for McKinsey?
Yeah, yeah, to overseeing cutting the operating expenses of the Lego Group. And because of that new CEO, he drastically changed the projection of Lego Forever. And there were a lot of rapid changes that happened just as I was getting into Lego. And so, because I was getting into Lego as the new CEO had fully executed his changes in 2005, like that's when he rebranded World City to City. And World City was a rebrand of Town. And my older brother was born in 1985. So he had a lot of Lego sets from the late
Your
80s.
brother is 16 years older than you?
Yes, my brother my brother was born in the mid 80s, so he had some Lego, not a lot of Lego, from the late 80s to the early 90s. And so when I was a child, when he moved out of our house, when he bought a house just as he was graduating from university back in the mid 2000s, I inherited all of his old Lego. And so because of that, I was never introduced to Lego via a Duplo or the new sets available at the time. I inherited my brother's old Lego, and so thus my first Lego set I can remember building was the ISAT 5 from the Ice Planet theme back in 1993. And my brother had a lot of basic brick sets and a collection, a, a substantial amount of the Generation 1 road base plates. So I had fun playing with that in 2005. And my parents saw how much I enjoyed playing with my brother's collection. And when I got to elementary school was when I was getting out of Thomas the Tank Engine and into Lego. And if anyone knows anything about Thomas the Tank Engine in 2004, that's when Hit Entertainment bought the franchise, and to comply with new guidelines that the PBS channel had to enforce upon the creators of children's entertainment in order to air programs on their channel, because of the campaign efforts that George W. Bush did to get re-elected in his push to get children's entertainment to be more educational. Hit Entertainment had to comply with a lot of those new standards, which, in my opinion, ruined the franchise. So it was kind of a happy accident that I got out of Thomas just as it was getting bad, and I got into Lego just as it was getting really good. So I have a lot of nostalgia for 2005 Lego and 2006 Lego. 2006 was when I got my first quote-unquote modern sets. I remember the 2006 hospital from Lego City, the 2006 airport from Lego City, and a few other smaller vehicle sets. And that set me up for my Lego collection till about the Lego movie. And after the Lego movie, I realized that I just enjoy vintage Lego more than the modern Lego. And also, when I went on vacations in the late 2000s, and my parents bought the new Lego as presents for me, for vacation gifts, etc., I would bring them home and I would mix them with the vintage Lego. And I quickly realized how they aren't really compatible with each other, because at that time they came out with the 5th generation road base plates, which are the dark grey ones that many people still have in their cities for those who haven't converted to the Mills system.
Like Cheng Bricks and Alex Noonies, right?
Yeah, they all have big collections of the dark grey road base plates with the white lines in the middle, the drain, the drain vents at the end of, at the end of the road, and only the 6 studs, not the 7 studs, 8 studs, or 9 studs on the side of the road. And so whenever I try to build buildings, because I didn't have a lot of plain base plates that weren't road base plates, I would try to build buildings in a city block that was only the 5th generation road base plates from 2005 to 2019. And I got so frustrated because what I tried to build, it wouldn't fit in the middle, let alone having a realistic sidewalk to go around or in front of the building. And so I felt like because the roads had become so wide compared to the roads that I inherited from my brother, which were a happy medium, I got physically frustrated as a child when I tried to connect the new base plates at the time to the old base plates, which I didn't know because I was an innocent child who hadn't explored the internet and didn't own the Lego history book yet. The differences between old and new. And so as I learned the differences between old and new, I looked back on my experience as a child before I had money to purchase my own Lego, and I did not like the Lego that was on shelves. By the time I saw the Lego movie in theaters, it kind of clicked in my brain, and I kind of had a coming to Jesus moment. Oh my god, I don't like the new Lego anymore. I like the old Lego. And so the very next year I bought both the 1986 Airport and the 1988 Victory Lap Raceway set from the Lego Town thing. And at the time I grew my city from there, and I've never looked back. And also because it's easier to make mocks that look like something from vintage Lego than it does to make mocks that look something like modern Lego, because the vintage Lego sets have a lot less detail. The architecture is a little bit more boxy, and
Yeah.
it's on and it's on a smaller scale, so it's more manageable. Doesn't require as much time, money, or pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So are those old sets really expensive now? A lot of them, or only a few of them?
Well, because you can find Lego in all types of different conditions. You can find it complete and dirty, complete and clean. You can find it complete with the instructions. You you can find sets used in box. You can find sets mint. No, sorry. You can find sets sealed in box, and you can find sets mint in sealed box. So if you're that ultimate collector that needs your Lego to be pristine and your boxes to be in perfect condition without any dents or scratches or anywhere and tear, then it's expensive to go back and get vintage Lego. But if you just want to play with a tangible product that is the Lego brick and experience the magic of Lego, then if you find if you find the right listings online, then there are ways of getting vintage Lego for cheap, but you run the risk of it not being in the best condition.
Hmm.
And very often, if you go and buy a bulk lots from different online resources, I know people who have pieced together entire vintage collections just by buying a bulk lots. Most of it, most of those bulk lots were from eBay. These days, a lot of people find really good bulk lots on Facebook Marketplace, and they're able to piece together vin- hundreds of vintage Lego sets because they know the know-how of what these pieces are from and how many of them they need to complete it. I've never gone down that route, but I have enough new Lego sets that have the pieces I need with to create old Lego sets. And because a lot of the old Lego sets have very basic pieces, eventually when you break down sets to build mocks, you slowly acquire some of the pieces that you need, and any of the specialty pieces you just go to Bricklink, because there's an airport delivery a truck from 1992 that if you don't care about the stickers, it's relatively easy to piece together, but it's very crucial that you have two specific hinge plates. And so I found a seller on eBay. No, sorry, I found a seller on Bricklink that had those two specific hinge plates, and I'm like, voila! I have the main pieces. Now I'll just wait for the rest of those pieces to filter into my collection, and I'll build it from there.
Cool. Yeah. That is interesting. So I have a question. Is there like I know you guys call yourselves A-fools, right?
Yeah, a fan of old Lego.
Yeah, adult fan of old Lego, right?
And no, it's a fan of old Lego.
Got it. Got it.
It was Briggsar that coined that term for his fans.
Yeah, I have a question. So, do you watch a lot of Brixar and a lot of Stacy?
Yes, I watch a lot of Briggsar. I want to watch a lot of Stacy. I am just very far behind on hers, but I am actually a member of the Briggsar YouTube channel, so I watch all of Jabbo's stuff early access, and I get people asking me questions all the time about the stuff that they see regular release, and they talk to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, I already know, because I've seen this thing 3 days before you did.
Yeah, no, I'm not a member of any channel, if I'm being honest. Do you have any channel goals for your channel?
Oh yes, the big channel goal is I want to get my channel monetized so that I can shave my mustache for Movember and raise money for some of the Movember charities. Because I'll briefly show my face, can see that I'm growing a mustache, and I'll shave it off when I have the tools at my disposal to do that charity stream. Because I always shave my beard when it gets ridiculously long every 3 months, but my mustache has been a slow grower over the past 4 years, and so I don't have a problem letting it grow out, and hopefully in 2 years or so it'll be grown enough that will be the same time as hopefully I can get my YouTube channel monetized, and then we can raise some nice money for charity. That's my big goal, and I have a sentimental goal and a philanthropic goal for my channel as a ploy to get people to want to help me get monetized in the first place. So it's kind of it's kind of a a selfish good deed, shall you say?
That is funny. Yeah. So I have a question, Mayo, and I want to talk. I want to have an honest discussion about this, because to me, I am someone who loves playsets of even
Me too.
modern
Me
day
too.
playsets, and like, I don't know, just playsets. And I don't know, some 18+ sets are boring to me. What do you agree with me?
Well, there are a lot of 18+ sets that are boring, but
Yeah.
there are a few diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, when we say 18+, we're thinking about the black boxes, which are different, which are more of them are being rebranded in the icons theme.
Hmm.
But any set that has a black box is normally under the quasi 18 plus theme under the guise of adults welcome. And honestly, most of the 18 plus sets I do I do not give a crap about.
Hmm. Yeah. Hello, Esteban Fuentes. I just need to say that. Like, what are the few that you do give a crap about?
Well, I think the modular building collection now is under the black boxes,
Yes.
and that's really just about it.
And like,
um, I think some of the bigger. Well, I think some of the bigger. Well, I think technically, the Galaxy Explorer was a black box set. I own that.
it is an 18 plus set.
Yes, the medieval town square set is an 18 plus set. So I really want that because I'm a castle guy.
I want that too.
Even though the 90th anniversary castle has the yellow box, I think that was technically an 18 plus
Yeah,
set.
yeah, it was an
And
18
I
plus
and
set.
I spent 1,200 Australian dollars to get two of those because it was such an awesome castle.
Oh yeah. Why did you get two of those then?
Because I wanted one for the build and I wanted another to make a village mocks out of because there's so many useful grey pieces in that set. And the thing I've always disliked about various Lego castle themes from all eras is that we've never gotten enough of the basic buildings to fill out a village to surround the castle. And I
I
think that's
agree.
because there's not as much playability options with those types of sets compared to an actual castle
Yeah.
or castle sets for the battle of for the battle between different kingdoms. So they've kind of neglected things like blacksmiths and taverns in the past, and I'm glad that with the way that Lego is trying to bring back the castle theme, but not as an actual theme, just incorporating it into other themes. They know that a lot of AFOLs like castle, so they know they can get away with producing big, expensive castle sets like the 90th anniversary castle, like the medieval blacksmith that came out about 6 years ago, like the medieval town square that's currently available, because they
Did
they
you
know
say
that
6 years
adults.
ago?
Yes, the blood. Well, something like that. I can't remember the exact dates. I might be a little bit
It
shady
was
about
4 years. It was 3 years ago.
that. Okay, yeah. See, sets like that have been spoken about so much that it's kind of a Nelson Mandela effect. You think it's been around longer than what it actually is because
Yeah, no,
it's
people
because
love
it's
that set.
a set because it's a set that you've talked about so much. Everyone in the community, they just
Hmm.
they end up kind of tuning it out because if you go around in the community enough, you eventually hear it all. And I know that some people are so frustrated that people keep on talking about stuff over and over again that they end up just unfollowing people because it's like, can you talk about something else? Or it's just everyone being a clone of each other and posting the same thing on social media constantly. I think
I
the
hate
people
reposts.
Yeah, I think the people in the Lego community that set themselves apart is those who have something new to talk about every day and not just drown on the same old talking points.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, because like I'm so tired of like and it's not even like for me it's more of memes. Like it's memes more than Lego. But like I'm so tired of people reposting memes on Instagram. It gets so annoying.
See, I don't follow a lot of meme pages to begin with, so I'm not
Me
I'm
neither,
not
but
I'm not in that circle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just know it's a ton of reposting.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
PBJ said the Avengers Tower is an 18 plus set and has a lot of play value. That is
Oh, that
true.
that also reminds me. Uh, the the Sanctum Sanctorum. That was an
Yeah.
18 plus set. That's really cool architecture, and I'm a sucker. Well, my favorite Lego color is sand green, and that has a big, ginormous sand green roof. So I wasn't going to pass on that.
I need to ask you a question. I think that sand green is a little bit overrated. Why do people love sand green so much?
Yes, I have seen a lot of people saying that same thing. I think I like it because I've never really seen washed out green colors in a lot of toys, and Lego is
That
very
is
different
true.
from other toys, and Lego is very different from other toys in the market. So they're one of the rare companies who can get away with a lot of washed out colors, and I think because I've always seen really cool sets that have sand green in it. I've
Hmm.
always seen it kind of as a more classy color, but
Hmm.
Lego kind of killed their own appeal with the sand green color, because for those who have been on social media long enough, you might remember that the sand green color, besides getting it in Lego sets, the sand green color at the pick a brick wall used to only be exclusive to the Flatiron building in New York City. And then they decided to make it available at all Lego store pick a brick walls. And because there's more of it these days, there's less of an attachment to it. And so because it's more common and in people's faces, it's all up in my face. But I think the specialty of it has worn off on a lot of people, to the point where they look at some of the other colors in Lego history and they're like, yes, that actually looks slightly better. I've seen that happen with a lot of the sand colors, whether it be sand blue, whether it be sand red, whether it be sand purple. There's a lot of weird, obscure colors throughout Lego history, and most of those weird colors um, were discontinued during the Great Color Purge of, guess the year, 2004, when the new CEO came in. That a lot of people go back and look
Yeah,
at and say, "Oh, that was a really
yeah,
cool color."
yeah. Okay, I do want to say something. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but sand blue is still around, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So it was only sand red and sand purple that got discontinued, right?
Yes, because
No, no, sand
San
red did not get. Wasn't sand red discontinued in the 2010s? Like, weren't there some Lego Minecraft sets with sand red?
um so
Am I wrong
Lego
about that?
Minecraft so Lego Minecraft came out in 2013 with the micro builds, and
Hmm.
I think they introduced new colors as a replacement for Sand Red, because by the time Lego Minecraft came out, Sand Red was long retired. But I'm pretty sure Sand Purple was retired before Sand Red.
Yeah, yeah. Because sand purple, I've heard like it was really only used in like a Lego Star Wars set, in like the the one with the one based off of Episode 2.
Yeah, were a lot of colors from when I was born in the early 2000s that were only used in one specific theme, and
Wow.
our slugger has kind of documented some of that stuff in his videos, and I learned from our slugger that the medium orange color was only used in the Adventurers Orient expedition sets. And so there were a lot. So because
Was it what the
Lego
tiger
wanted to,
used? Was it like the color that the tiger used?
It was a lot of the sets. It was a lot of sets based upon the Himalayas. In because if you follow the lore of the adventurous theme, throughout Orient Expedition, after they after they get out of India as they're trying to make their way into China, they have to cross the Himalayan mountains, and so they have an adventure
Yeah, I mean, geographically, that makes sense, of
leading
course.
have an adventure leading up to Mount Everest, and in some of the sets that were that in that sub theme of the sub theme of the theme, uh, um, the 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 snow terrain sets, as some people have referred to it, kind of with um the elemental theology of like Bionicle and Power Rangers. The icy sets were the ones that really heavily utilize the medium orange.
Got it. What was medium orange like? Like, was it lighter or darker than
Medium
this?
medium orange was lighter than the standard orange. I think the reason why medium orange was discontinued is because it was very close in color to the bright light orange, and bright light orange still exists today. So there were a lot of colors that were
Which one
really
is
close
bright light
together.
orange?
So bright light orange is what some people refer to as the flame yellowish orange, the keto orange, or the
Oh,
school
that makes
bus,
a lot more sense. Okay, I know which one that you're
or
talking about.
yeah, but and even some people refer to it as the school bus yellow.
And some people refer to it as Keat orange, right? Like the Bionicle fans.
Yeah, because the Bionicle fans are the ones that most refer to it as the keto orange. Because
Yeah, yeah.
I believe that bright light orange was first invented for the Bionicle sets.
Was the first what?
I believe that Keat orange was one of the colors that was introduced for the Bionicle sets. There were a lot of colors that were introduced for the
Got it.
for the Bionicle sets, and that's why a lot of people say, well, Bionicle isn't as responsible for Lego avoiding bankruptcy as you might think, because Bionicle had a lot of colors and new molds that they had to invest in. It just happened to be an investment
Hmm.
like acquiring the Star Wars license. It just was a good investment. And some people tend to say that Star Wars
Got
is
it.
more responsible because when Lego acquired the license for Star Wars, they kind of lucked up, so to speak, that the same year they acquired the Star Wars license, the prequel trilogy was beginning.
Correct, correct. So you told me that you've never seen all of the movies, right?
Yes,
Only A New Hope.
I've only seen seen small scenes of all the movies, but the only full movie I have seen, because I thought it would be a cardinal sin if I went my life without ever watching a full Star Wars movie. When either The Last Jedi or the Rise of Skywalker came out in theaters, on my cable pay TV, there was a Star Wars pop up channel that was playing all of the Star Wars movies for a week straight in the lead up to the movie. And as soon as the movie was in theaters in my country, the pop up channel went away. But I took the opportunity to watch A New Hope. And yeah, that's the only Star Wars movie I've seen in full. And the opening shot to A New Hope, where the Star Destroyer is chasing the Tantive 4, and they're trying to get the plans to the Death Star out of the Tantive 4, smuggle it inside of the droids before Darth Vader comes along to handle the people inside of the Tantive 4. That opening scene with the chase theme, from the chase scene after the yellow letters fade away into space, up until the interior shot of the Tantive 4, is my favorite sequence in any of the Star Wars movies.
Huh.
And then going back and watching people give their thoughts, theories, and reactions to Star Wars as a whole, I grew to like the trench run scene from the time that Luke Skywalker dodges one of the TIE fighters, and up until the scene up until the scene where they pan away with the X-Wing flying away from the Death Star after the Death Star blows up. I've grown to like that scene, and also the scene before the trench run where Mon Mothma gives the plans about how they want to destroy the Death Star. The specific lines when she says,
No, that's from Return of the Jedi.
Many Bothmans, where that's what I'm talking about, because two separate scenes from different movies, but they just blow up the Death Star twice within the same trilogy, which I always found weird. It's like when the Empire reconstructed the Death Star, did they not think the rebels were just going to try and blow it up again? If they blew up the Death Star 1, very likely chance they could blow up the Death Star 2, and all of the time the Empire spent reconstructing the Death Star might have gone to waste. I always found that.
So I have a question.
That funny.
So how come you like Guardians of the Galaxy so much?
I think it's because the quality of the CGI in it is so good. I am a big critic of the use of CGI in movies because I'd rather physical props. So when I see a movie that has really good high quality CGI, which Guardians of the Galaxy has really high quality CGI, I gravitate towards those types of movies. It's also why I saw the movie Ready Player One in theaters. It's also why I have a fondness for the Pixar movies. When I see good quality CGI, I give it my tick of approval and it has rewatch value. But if it's CGI for the sake of being CGI, it just feels like a cash grab to me. Because there are some movies where you can tell they only use CGI because they didn't have the budget for a full-on prop.
Yeah, that's funny.
I
find
like
using CGI to like do something that you can't really do with props, right?
Yeah, and the funniest thing is, one of my favorite forms of entertainment is people ranting about certain movie franchises, and I just happen to catch a lot of people ranting about various movies within the MCU, and I always find it funny when they keep on saying, "Oh, that was a reshoot. Oh, that was a CGI effect that they botched. Oh, that was a CGI effect that they used because they didn't have the budgets for a full prop." And I think the funniest thing I've ever heard someone talk about with bad CGI in the movie is with the Justice League movie from the DC cinematic universe. how badly Henry Cavill's fake chin is on for a Superman's character, and the way that they described it, it looked like his mouth was the annoying orange, and I found that so funny. And ever since then, I've paid more attention to the bad quality CGI in movies.
Wow. So you really only like Guardians because of the CGI?
Yeah, well, I was drawn into Guardians of the Galaxy because of the CGI, and then I got sucked in to the storyline afterwards. Because it's a storyline that's quite unlike the other films in the MCU.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of the MCU as well. Who's your favorite character?
That's a tough question. I think my favorite character is probably Rocket because of the banter he has with the other characters and the way he kind of backsasses all the other characters, and they just accept it because it's like Rocket knows he owns them, kind of like he owns Groot. I'm Groot.
Yeah, Rocket is also my favorite. So is he your favorite MCU character?
I think he is probably by default because I don't care enough to pay attention to the other characters within the MCU.
So do you watch the other MCU movies or not?
I've never watched any other MCU movies besides Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No, sorry.
Oh, really? Wow.
Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. My mistake.
So you've never seen Avengers Endgame in your entire life?
No, but I have heard enough people reacting to various MCU movies to know enough of the plot line within those films to know that I'm probably not going to enjoy it as much as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Got it. Yeah, no, I'm a very big Guardians of the Galaxy fan all around. Let me think, though.
But the strangest thing is...
I wanted to ask you. I wanted to return...
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
Yeah, but the strange thing is I've never felt the desire to buy any of the Guardians of the Galaxy sets.
Why not?
Probably because I'm more interested in the storyline and the CGI effects than the actual props. But like if they ever made a set based on the intergalactic prison from the first movie, I would buy that. If they ever made a set based upon the big building that collapses in the climax of the third movie, I would probably buy it. There just aren't. I don't think Lego has done enough substantial Guardians of the Galaxy playsets. They've really gone hard on the different ships within the film.
So do you not like the vehicles?
I think I don't like vehicles as much as buildings in general, because a building has a presence, while a vehicle is more likely to be a shelf piece, especially if it's not in the minifigure scale. And in general, vehicles that aren't roadworthy are really awkward to fit into any given Lego display.
What do you mean?
Well, like if you have so okay, how do I put this? So if you have a city, it's much easier to fit a car in than an aeroplane. If you have a Star Wars scene, it's much easier to fit a speeder bike than the Millennium Falcon. If you have um
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have if you have a bat cave, it's much easier to fit the Batmobile than the Batwing. If you have a
Is it?
Marvel,
Okay,
yeah,
I just want to I just want to address something. I'm sorry, but PBJ said I love sand green. I just picked up some sand green bricks from the wall, pab wall. Well, and then PBJ also says thanks for the podcast. Have a good day / night. Good night, PBJ. And then Esteban Fuentes says nice live. Thank you.
thank you.
So you were saying then?
Yeah, and so and then if you go, if you try build a Marvel whatever scene, it's easier to incorporate some of the really small unrecognizable vehicles like that silly Morbius car compared to, let's say, the Quinjet.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very and Lego, or no, sorry, a better example would be the helicarrier. Like
Yeah.
it's very difficult to display big wide vehicles.
That
They're
is
really
true.
only they're really only meant for a shelf or like a really ginormous table that you might bring to a Lego convention.
Good point. And you don't like just displaying your sets, right?
No, I like to. I'm more of a mock builder than a set builder,
Mm-hmm.
so I prefer to have mocks out for show because that's a better demonstration of my creativity.
Good point. Yeah, I know there are a lot of people who all that they do is build sets, and it's really interesting how they're able to build a big channel on just doing sets.
I think it's because that's I think it's that I think that's because that's what the general viewer wants to see. The advanced viewer is more interested than mocks.
Hmm.
No, sorry, is more interested in mocks than sets. But you have to be. But where the reason why those channels are that big is because they cater to the general audience who might know absolutely nothing about Lego and slowly learn a little bit more about Lego as they are subscribed to those big channels. So those big channels structure their videos in a way that it's very easy for someone who doesn't know anything about Lego to watch that and then begin to learn a little bit more about Lego every time they watch those videos.
Like think about M&R Productions. He doesn't build mocks. He
Yeah,
just does sets.
yeah, you could argue he's more of a Star Wars guy than a Lego guy. It just happens to be that Lego makes Star Wars sets.
No, because fundamentally his channel. Well, I mean, you're kind of right. You're kind of right, but at the same time, his channel fundamentally is a Lego channel. Like people have asked him, like he answered in a Q&A video one time. He's like, if Lego Star Wars were to end today, what would you do? He's like, he really said, this is a Lego channel first and foremost,
Yeah,
but I still have a lot of Lego Star Wars reviews to do.
yeah, but the reason why he would say that is because there's a lot of people who want to watch Lego on YouTube.
Hmm.
And he knows that his audience are Lego first, Star Wars second.
Yeah, yeah.
So when he says stuff like that, he's catering to his audience because he knows he he has enough analytics of the viewers that have been following him for enough years. And when you recognize people that comment over a multiple year period, you begin to develop a closer relationship between each other compared to someone who says, "Oh hi, I just subscribed," compared to someone who says, "Yes, you did this X number of years ago. I remember this. Keep on being the awesome channel that you are."
So, but you truly do think that MNR is more of a Star Wars guy than a Lego guy?
Well, there are a lot of people who know a lot about Star Wars, and there are a lot of people who know a lot about Lego. M&R Productions knows a lot about Star Wars, and he knows a lot about Lego. But the way that he critiques sets, you can tell that he knows enough about the Star Wars franchise to pick apart the different elements where Lego could be doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's able to carefully articulate his opinions about constructive criticism of a Lego Star Wars set, then he would know, for example, the proportions of a ship or the costumes of a character in the movie. Like when he complains about the helmet holes, he does
Mm-hmm.
it because when you have helmet holes, it doesn't look realistic to the movie prop helmets. And it doesn't
Right.
it doesn't and it doesn't take a genius to come to that conclusion, but that's a basic yet relatable point that a lot of people share the same opinion of, with or without being subscribed to him. And so the way that he relates to a lot of people in the community is why his channel is so successful. And you gotta be
Well, I don't
relatable,
necessarily agree with you.
and you gotta be relatable for people to want to come back and watch your videos over and over again, or you've got to deliver an entertaining product.
Good point. Yeah, that's true. Because, well, think about it this way. Because M&R Productions. Do you watch much M&R Productions?
And no, not really, because I don't really subscribe to people that only talk about Star Wars.
Good point. Good point. Do you I will ask you this: Who are your who are the channels that you watch a lot on YouTube?
Probably people who I have developed a close relationship with, or people that have longevity. So I've been watching Briggsar for years, Jane Briggs for years. So I'll always
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
their stuff. But then some of my friends who I've been talking with on social media forever, and there's too many of them to name, I'll keep on watching their stuff. There are some people who I don't have as much of a connection with on social media, so I have a hierarchy of who I prefer to watch. And if I don't talk to you a lot on social media, I'm probably not going to have you high on my watch later list,
Got it. Huh.
because
Huh.
I'm subscribed to so many people, and I enjoy so many people's content that my watch later list is almost at 400 videos. And that's over the last 2 years worth of people uploading videos.
Wow. Wow. I have a
There's
question. When you
only
watch a video, do you watch it the whole way through?
Yes, I
Me
do.
too.
I despise the people who don't who if they're going to take the time to click on a video,
Yeah.
why are you not going to watch it through when you're deciding which videos to click on? You should also be thinking to yourself, okay, does the thumbnail look good enough, and does the title look good enough that it's going to be a video I'm going to watch the whole way through? And so
It sounds like that's a
so if I look at the title and the thumbnail of a video and I think, yeah, I don't find that 100% interesting, I'm probably not going to watch the video to begin with.
Yeah. That's a
My
smart.
my shoulder joint just cracked, and that was really loud.
Wow.
Anyway, we're coming up on 2 hours soon, so do you want to start wrapping up the conversation?
No, I can keep going. I'll be honest with you. I don't have school tomorrow, so I'm good.
Well, I've actually got some commitments I'm probably going to have to do at the top of the hour, so I can probably go another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, perfect. What time is it over there?
Right now it's 2:39 p.m. on Wednesday.
Got it. Oh. Yeah, interesting.
Time
2:39
zones.
p.m.
Am
Over
I right?
here it is 10:09.
Yeah. And
So you're in the 30-minute ahead time?
yeah, because I'm one of the time zones that's offset by half an hour instead of an hour.
Where in Australia are you from?
I'm in the state of South Australia, which means I'm in the central time zone.
Got it. Okay, so you're in South Australia, so
Yeah.
close to Adelaide.
Yes, that is the city that I'm in. Last weekend was the 25-hour day coming out of daylight saving, and about a month ago, the US went into daylight saving, and because I cater my videos to an American audience, I change my upload times dependent on whether the US is or isn't in daylight saving. So when I'm in daylight saving and the US isn't, I start my live streams since I always start it at 9 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night in North America. When I'm in daylight savings and you're not, I start my streams at 12:30 p.m. on a Saturday. When you're in daylight savings and I'm not, I have to start it at 10:30 a.m. in the morning here.
2
And
hours? Why 2 hours? So is your
because
daylight savings time a 2-hour difference?
well, what I'm saying is when you're in daylight savings, you're plus an hour. When I come out of daylight savings, that's minus an hour, which means which means if we're both in daylight savings, if I always want my streams to start at 9 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night in North America, I have to start my streams at 11:30 a.m. The same if we're both in daylight saving, or if we're both not in daylight saving. So daylight saving affects the way I spend it affects the way I spend every Saturday throughout the year, because there's positives and there's advantages and disadvantages of it, because I really hate waking up early in the morning, but also I don't like my day going on for too long.
What do you mean by you don't like your day going on for too long?
Well, when I have to start my streams at 12 p.m. No, when I have to start my streams at 12:30 p.m. here, that means if I do a 3-hour stream that goes on till 3:30 p.m. and and it's the illusion that my streams are taking up a bigger percentage of my day than
That
they
is
actually
true.
are. Compared to if you wake up early in when I'm going to have to wake up early in the morning for my next stream, compared to last week's stream, it'll end at 1:30 p.m., not 2:30 p.m. So but it also means I have to wake up early. So it's when you're trying to cater to the American audience, which is where all the eyeballs are, it kind of messes with your body clock season by season.
That is true. I have a question though. Why do you specifically try to cater to an American audience?
Because that's where most of my friends are, and that's where the biggest percentage of people on YouTube are.
Good point.
And
Yeah.
they say, and what do they say about American pop culture influence? If you can make it in New York, you can make it in America. If you can make it in America, you can make it anywhere.
That is true.
And as Jay-Z once said, I made the Yankees hat more famous than a Yankee can.
I made the Yankees what?
As Jay-Z once said, I made the Yankees hat more famous than a Yankee can.
Oh wow. I made a Yankees hat more famous than a Yankees can.
So okay, so what he means by that is people are more likely to become a fan of the New York Yankees in baseball and buy a New York Yankees cap after they see Jay-Z wearing it than they are if they see a random player from the New York Yankees wearing a Yankees baseball cap.
Good point. Good point.
Because the way that Jay-Z has exported himself, his music across the world to be arguably a top 4 rap artist of all time.
Yeah. That is true. Well, I think that it's time to kind of wrap things up.
Yeah, this has been a good conversation. I'm glad that I got the time to do this with you after you asked me almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, I'm glad so too, because I had to take a pause on this live stream because I wasn't able to get people on. So then I'm like, you rebooted the podcast literally.
Well, I'm glad I could kick off a new era.
Yeah, you did kick off a new era here on YouTube.
And hopefully you find some other good people in the Lego community that might see this podcast and wanna reach out to you. Hopefully I can be a positive influence.
Yeah. Do you have any other recommendations of people that I think I should reach out to?
I think the more you talk to specific people, getting to know them by talking to them in comments of their videos, or talking with them on within live stream chats, the more meaningful conversations you have with random people, if they also have enough of a presence, they maybe might want to get involved. The problem I find is that I do that a lot, and the more you get to know people, the more you get to know their schedule, and a lot of people's schedules unfortunately don't overlap with each other.
Yeah, because for me the hardest thing is I'm in the West Coast, and most people are in the East Coast, so it's impossible.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a big factor. Is that most of the American Lego YouTubers are Eastern and Central. There's not a lot of people that's Mountain and Pacific.
Yeah, and no one in Mountain Time Zone.
Well, only very select people in the Mountain Time Zone.
Do you know
I've
any?
got about I know about 6 people in the Mountain Time Zone, and 3 of them are friends of mine.
Can you tell me who in the Lego community is Mountain Time Zone?
Well, in the Mountain Time Zone, I can think of Macro Bricks, Alex Nunes, Jason's Bricks and Five, Lego Head Productions AZ, Brixie, and some people in Denver.
Good point. Good point. I wasn't thinking of them. I wasn't thinking of the Utah guys. So yeah. Okay, well, where can people find you, Mayo?
So you can find me at Mayo Hosko on YouTube, on Instagram and Twitter X. You can find me at real_Mayo Hosko. I have a Discord server and I have a Facebook fan club, and you can invest in Mayo Hosko Media by pledging to me on Patreon. All of those different links, as well as other information about Mayo Hosko Media and the history of my existence on YouTube. All of that stuff can be found on my website, mayohosko.weebly.com.
Got it. And any things that you often post, like your posting
Yeah.
schedule, your
Well,
live stream schedule?
I always do my weekly live streams on YouTube, as I said, at 9 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night in North America. I post a lot of pictures about my mocks. I post a lot of pictures about vintage Lego. I tweet about a variety of things over on Twitter X. I try to keep it more Lego focused on Instagram. But if anyone wants to see anything that's non-Lego from me, you can friend me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter X. But on Discord, on my Discord server, I also try to keep it things more Lego related. So there's different avenues where people can see my Lego, either sets I'm building or mocks I'm building on select social medias, and then more other random stuff going in my life on those other select social medias.
Cool. And then, of course, I just have a question. How did he come up with the name Real Whole Egg? What is the meaning behind Real Whole Egg?
Well, I was browsing all the different popular live stream series, and I realized that they all have a catchy name that relates to their channel. And so I looked at my YouTube channel, Mayo Hosko,
How
and
did
I
he
know
come up with that name?
okay, yes. So that can actually be explained on either my 9th or my 10th year anniversary video. So if anyone wants the answer to that question, you can go back and watch either my 9th or my 10th year anniversary video. I can't remember which one, but I looked at my profile, and the flavor of the mayo jar on my profile just happens to be Real Whole Egg, and I thought, hey, that would be a good name for a stream series. And I've tried to do other spin-offs that have since then had an eggy pun in it.
But how did he come up with the name Mayo Hosko?
Yeah, as I said, that can be explained on either my 9th or my 10th year anniversary video. I can't remember which one. I need to go back and
My
look at
bad.
some of my old videos.
I'll definitely check them out. Yes. Another question. Would you mind coming back here for another live stream, another Oaktown Bricks podcast in like a couple of months?
Yeah. Well, whenever. Well, I could do one when I get home from Brick World Chicago, if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because I always have a gap between Brick World Chicago and the second semester throughout my year.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Yeah, definitely one then. That would be a great idea. And I need to promote this. When it comes to me, one thing, I just reached 50 subscribers a little while ago. So I'm doing a Q&A video, and if anyone wants any questions answered, go to Instagram, type your questions in one of my most recent posts, Another thing, I will be live streaming on Twitch actually this Friday with TJ at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah.
Actually, you're not in standard time. You're in daylight time right now.
What does that mean?
Daylight time is when you're in daylight savings. Standard time is
Okay.
standard time is when you're not in daylight savings, and a lot of Americans make that error.
Oh, I thought that was the same thing. My bad. My bad.
Yeah,
So what are you in right
I
now?
think
Are you in standard time or
yeah,
daylight?
I'm in standard time because on Sunday we came out of daylight savings
Why?
because that's
Oh,
because
oh
that's
yeah. You already came out of daylight savings time, right?
yeah, and also different countries have different dates for daylight savings, not just because of which hemisphere they're in, but the closer you are to the equator, the more days of the year you have daylight savings. The further you are from the equator, the less times you have for daylight savings if you live in a country that observes daylight savings to begin with.
Got it. Got it. Oh, okay. So standard time is what we're in 8 months of the year.
Yes, because in well, yeah, yeah, something about that. I think in Australia it's a 7 month, 5 month split because we're really close to the equator.
Hmm. Yeah, you're in a land down under.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, Mayo, did I offend you when I tagged you in the post by putting men at work?
No, because that's actually a song that Instagram recommends me a lot when I upload posts,
Why?
and
Because
it's
you're from
good.
Australia?
Yes, probably. And they're good. They're good songs, so I don't have a problem. If I'm working if I'm working on a mock or something, I try to if I decide to have music that correlates to that stuff. Um but if it's something specifically related to my country, then that's probably one of my go-to songs.
Got it. Oh,
Also
okay. Okay.
also the song by Icehouse called Great Southern Land.
Got it. So it's not offensive.
No, it's
That's
not.
good to know.
It's just a really popular song in the Instagram algorithm.
Got it. For Australia stuff?
Yeah, because there are a lot of places around the world where specific songs would be popular with the Instagram algorithm, depending upon your geography.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I could imagine some of the Lego photographers on Instagram in the deep south, uh, their Instagram algorithms would recommend them a lot of country songs. Any Lego photographers in Detroit, for example, I suspect the Instagram algorithm would recommend them a lot of Eminem songs. For example, it all depends on the geography of where you are in the world because a lot of times social media apps know more about you than you know about yourself. And funny thing is that Brigzar once came out and said that I know him better than he knows himself because I've watched so many of his videos.
In his what video?
There was a video once upon a time that Brigzar said that I know him better than he knows himself, which was a term of endearment to how many of his videos I've actually watched. The same thing with people like a Mardi Gras Man 23. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
myself, Mardi Gras Man, I think myself and Mardi Gras Man 23 have probably watched more of Briggsar's videos than anyone else on YouTube. That actually takes the time out of their day to comment. Because the thing is, no one's gonna know that you watch someone's videos if you don't comment. That's the value of commenting.
Good point. I don't comment. That's the unfortunate thing, though.
Yeah, and so a good way to put yourself out into the community is to watch people's videos and then comment about it.
Yeah, because I watch, but don't comment.
That's the best way. That's the best way that the content creator gets to know the viewers is by the comments.
More than even live streams, then?
Yes, because people normally produce more videos than they do live streams.
You're right. They definitely do.
And the YouTube algorithm cares more about video comments than live stream comments because it's easier to track that for their analytical metrics.
Good point. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. How is that easier for their algorithm?
I think because there's less of a chance that there's less of a chance that your comment will go away. Because when people film live streams, normally they don't take the time to enable the comments to be available back on the replay. Some people don't even know that you can enable that in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was watching Brick Hive's live stream on Replay Gang earlier today, and I couldn't see any of the comments.
Yeah, that's because I don't think he enables the live comments back on replay of his streams. There's only a handful of people who bother to enable that in the first place. Got
it. Yeah. Yeah, because I've seen some people do and some people don't.
Yeah. I even forget if I've done it on my channel because it's kind of an it's an afterthought, if I'm going to be honest.
So your name is James Hoskinson?
No. There's an extra syllable in there, and just so that no one who has doxed me in the past, or is a doxer, things about doxing me, I'm not gonna say which one of those was an extra syllable. Because I'm no stranger to dealing with the trolls. There's a couple of us in the community who's no stranger to dealing with the trolls.
Oh yeah, like a Brick Hive.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just find it funny that he's like, let me feed those trolls.
Yeah, and if the trolls aren't saying anything offensive, I'll just let them waste their time because they contribute to my analytics.
Yeah. Good
and
point. Luckily, I've never gotten any trolls.
Yeah, and a viewer is a viewer unless you cross the line.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I know that like BFAB has had to deal a lot with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. Anyway, it was great. It was great hanging out. And
it was.
And we'll catch up in the community around the place coming soon.
Yeah, we'll see each other in Chicago as well.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely. I'm hyped for that. So yeah, everyone, good night. Good luck. I'll see you later, Mayo.
See you later.
Yeah. Let's end the live stream.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.